Now we will deep dive into more technicalities. Okay. Before I come into microservice architecture and everything, let me take you to the whiteboard. I usually call this one as whiteboard. Okay. This one is whiteboard. Okay. So now we heard about API, we heard about HTTP, HTTPS. Now in software world, let me take you back one step back. Okay. One step back means let me take you the world of software development. I'm not talking about testing now. For coming 2-3 minutes, I will not talk about testing. I will talk about normal software development. Usually, what happens? Let you are a team. We all are a team. For example, a team of 10 people. We don't have we have not defined our role. You are a QA, I am a dev. We have not defined. We are a team, right? We got a requirement that we need to design a pizza application, right? We are, for example, we have started our own startup, right? And we are 10 team members. We have an idea that we are going to design a pizza app, correct? Now, the first day you came and everybody is saying we are going to design a pizza app. But where do you start, right? You have to start somewhere, right? You cannot just open your laptop and start coding, right? You have to start somewhere, like where you will design something, what kind of app you will use, where you will maintain the information, from which restaurant you are going to bring the pizza, are you going to set up your own store? If you are going to set up your own store, who will deliver your pizza, right? Are you how much amount you are going to pay him per hour? Are you going to provide him vehicle, right? All those things you need to sort out first, right? That means you are bringing a whiteboard and you are sorting down the points, right, of all those information. So in short, you are trying to create a rough diagram or a rough presentation that how you are going to design the things. In the software world, same thing happens, but in with more technicality. Right here, we think about, are we going to open our own store? Are we going to hire somebody? How much we are going to pay per hour? Are you going to provide vehicle? Those are little bit on the non-technical side or the sales side, you can say. But when we come to the technical side, let we are all a technical team now. Now we are a startup and we are also a technical team. That means we need to decide how we are going to design our pizza app and how we are going to manage it so it will be scalable. Because you don't want to design an app which will work only for 10 people, right? And you don't know how large your app will be, right? You may go worldwide, you may go across the countries, right? So you need to make sure on three important things. Every software development, these three things are very important. First, your design should be sustainable and scalable, right? Those are kind of all terms you can see in startup things, but you should aware of those terms. Okay, first you should prepare an app which should be scalable, right? Because if it is not scalable means whenever the number of you are able to easily scale the when the requirement increases, when the orders increases, you are easily able to scale it. If your app is not scalable, it is somehow it's not going to work, right? Only for a couple of people it will work. Once the load will increase, it will break down. So you have to make sure it is sustainable and scalable. Second, you should define your design techniques beforehand. Means design techniques beforehand means how you are going to design your app, where you are going to keep your front end, what are the services you are going to need, are you adding a payment service to it, are you going to market in Twitter and Facebook, then are you going to integrate those app into your app? Because nowadays many apps has the option, right, where you can share or you can just put it in the WhatsApp, right? So those are the integration, right? You have to decide it beforehand. It's not like you can do everything at runtime. You should have a proper plan beforehand, right? Second is that one. Third is, what are the technology you need to do it, right? That's why you are going to hire people, right? How it will happen if you don't decide as a technical team that okay, I'm going to use Java for backend, I'm going to use JavaScript for front end, or maybe I'm going to use AWS, Amazon services to store my information, I'm going to use Kubernetes to for scalability, I'm going to use Docker for containerization. Those technical terms you need to define beforehand. You don't have to worry about all those terms, okay? I'm just giving examples. So these three things you need to keep in mind. So now to fulfill all these three things, we usually design a graphical presentation, which we call it as architecture diagram. Those architecture diagrams are of two main type in software development. One is microservice, one is monoliths. Okay, so I'm just trying to relate everything, right? Why we need a architecture diagram, what we call that architecture diagram is, and what are the type of architecture. There are many types, but you need to remember these two types important. So why we need architecture diagram? Because we are a technical team. We need to provide a sustainable, scalable solution which have all the design patterns mentioned. Means what are the technology we are going to use, how we are going to use, what are the integration we need, everything all in one place, and I need to put it in a diagrammatic way. So, and that thing we call it as a architecture diagram in software development world. And what are the main type of architecture diagram we have? Microservice, monolith. Now, out of this microservice and monolith, those are architecture style. We understand, right? Those are architecture style where we define the things. Monolith is the old one. Okay, you can say it is the older brother kind of thing in the family, right? Monolith is the older brother, microservice is the younger brother. Okay, monolith is in the market since a very long time. In fact, when the software development field starts, everybody was quietly using monolith only. Slowly, in recent world, microservices started. People have started using microservices architecture, right? Now, definition wise, everything is there over here. But I will draw everything in a real time example so you will understand. So now, Microsoft, how we are relating it with the software world, microservice architecture, you got it right. It is a kind of a layman diagram where we define everything, right? Architecture diagram that is basically called as microservice. Now you must be thinking why I should learn microservice architecture. I am just a API tester, right? I am doing API testing. Why I should learn microservice architecture? There is a very strong relation between them. And there is a bold statement over here. If microservices architecture is not in market, API would have not got this kind of kick. Okay. Still, the demand of API is too high. And the main reason behind it is microservice architecture. Because this architecture has increased the importance of integration too high that API comes into picture with a larger phase. That means somewhere the demand of microservice architecture is directly proportional to APIs. Now, how they relate to each other, I will give you an example. Just as a layman term, understand that microservices architecture is way of building software programs. That's why I've explained, right? That are made up of many small individual parts called as microservice. This line, made up of small individual parts, I will explain in the examples. But let talk like a 5-year old, okay? Let's take example that I have a big puzzle with many tiny pieces. Each microservice does a specific job and works together with other microservice to make the program work. Okay. Just like how you can build a big tower with many blocks, like in a Lego game. We have Lego games, right? Where small blocks we add multiple blocks and we create a design. Microservice is nothing like that. Small chunks integrate together and it will build a complete product, right? The same thing happens in microservice architecture in very layman terms. Okay, small blocks, when they connect to each other like a Lego game, we make a larger or complete product. Microservices architecture takes the same approach. They divide the entire project into small chunks, okay, and then they try to get together all those chunks and build the product. That's why they call this microservice architecture, because here the entire project, okay, the entire project is divided into small chunks, right? Every project or entire project would be divided into small chunks. Then they integrated those chunks and they build something just like your Lego game. Small building blocks add together, complete product. That's what happened in microservices testing. Whenever they get a requirement or a software product, they divide into small section and then they start working on each section individually, right? And at last, when all the separate sections are completely built together, they merge it, right? Before I come to those diagrams, okay, and go to monolith, let me give you a example over here. Let's go back over here in this example, okay? I have to design a pizza app, okay? And I get to know, I'm removing those things, okay? I get to know that this is the entire product, okay? This square box is the entire product, and I am designing a pizza app. So what are the things I have figured out in my, this is irrespective of monolith and microservice. My requirement is I need to use a payment service where my payment will happen, right? I need to use a pizza app main application means our I need to mention your main app, okay? Pizza main app where the user will place an order, correct? And there is one more pizza, for example, help and support section. So now what we have decided that we are going to design our product in three main line. Okay, one line is our pizza main app, correct? Where we will just keep all the options together, means a main app page where there will be of one more section I'm going to add over here. Okay, that will you can relate guys more closely. Offers, right? Offers and promotions, correct? So I have decided that when I have started let's we all started our startup and we have decided that we are going to make a pizza app, and in that initial phase we are going to focus on pizza app which have a payment service, right? And we will keep a separate section for help and support. If there is any problem with the order and the order not get delivered, then we should able to do the refund, and also one team will take care of this help and support part, one team will take care of the pizza main app part, and one team will take care of the payment service part, one team will take care on the sales part, who will create multiple offers. Clear, right? This is our requirement. Now what happens, uh, there are two architecture over here, two, maybe you can say two SDs over here. Okay, let me add two SDs. Okay, this is one SD and this is another SD. Okay, this is one SD, this is another SD, right? Now what happens, this SD's name is SD, for example, one. Okay, just stay with me here. Okay, don't please stay with me because this is a very important concept. Okay, in interview they will grill on this topic. Okay, if you try for, if you are really targeting for bigger organization, then they will grill you on microservice architecture. Okay, why? Because all bigger organization uses microservice architecture. Everyone, your Netflix, you name anything, Netflix, you name Prime, Amazon, anything you name, everybody is using microservice. Okay, so understanding this is very important, and they prefer SDETs who are aware of microservices. And you need to mention this in your resume also. When I will give you pointer, you need to mention or blog this one. So I will take time to explain this one, and I would hope that you will keep patience. Okay, just stay with me for 15 minutes. Okay, your entire monolith and microservice will be covered. Stay with me for 15 minutes. Okay, so now requirement comes for these two people. Okay, one person is this one, right? uh, one person is this one. Okay, I'm not sure why this arrow is not working. uh, just let me put it in this way. Now I cannot bring this. Okay, so let's assume that this is my requirement and I have shared this requirement with SD1 and SD2, two people. This is one developer, this is one developer. Now SD1 told me that let's do one thing. Let's create a single code base. Code base means where we are going to write our code. Okay, and in that code I am going to add four section, one section for your pizza app, one section for payment service, one section for offer, one section for hold help and support. I will have one code base, and there will be one service or one place or database, whatever you mention, one database which will manage all four things, and one code base which where I will manage all the four components. Okay, in technical term we call it as components. Okay, four components. SD1 suggested me this way. Okay, and we have developed our product, and we are able to manage things. We are keeping it at one place and everything is working fine because everything is one place, so everybody is able to see and everybody able to manage the things properly. But after working on this one for 2 months, one issue appeared. And what was the issue? The issue was, whenever I apply an offer, okay, whenever I apply an offer, it is basically showing in the main app, but main app means 10% off. But whenever the user is trying to make the payment, it is not deducting 10% from the main price. You are getting the point, right? Let me explain again the problem statement. The problem statement is I am able to offer team is able to provide an offer of 10%, which is visible on main app, right? When the person is clicking on that 10% off, okay, he's getting code or something. So pizza price is $20. It should be minus 10% of $20, right? So it should be around $18, correct? But now what is happening? Still in the final checkout page, it is showing $20. Now the SD1 has suggested us this one. So we went came to SD1 and told that, okay, this is some kind of issue. We are unable to figure out that this is related to offer team or pizza app team or payment team. This is a critical problem, right? But this is involving all the offer, main, and payment team. Now, what happens when this person has started debugging it? He came to know that there is some problem happens between integration of these things, and what they do, he tried to fix this one. He tried to fix this one. When he tried to fix this one in the payment service, the issue got fixed. This is good, right? Issue got fixed. But what happens with the normal order also, now it is giving the normal 10% off. And so when a normal person is ordering without off also, it is taking $18. Why this happens? Because all the services and components, we are keeping it at one place. We are unable to figure out how those things are basically communicating with each other because we are keeping everything at one place, right? And whenever you are making changes in one place, as we are maintaining a single code base and single place to manage all the four components, it is difficult for us to avoid the common issues which are going to impact this and this together. Because here what happens, the issue was actually an from a payment service, but when I do that changes, that impacted this one also, because everything is placed in one component, right? That is one problem. Second problem, we are maintaining a single place to maintain all our code and all our server. So that's why whenever a single issue is happening in one component, is impacting the another component also. So now this time we fixed it. Okay, we know that, okay, that was the problem. Next time what happens, again there is a problem with help and support. When help and support team is aware that, okay, there is some problem, they are trying to return money to some person and it was not working, again they went back to payment service. They figured out that, okay, the issue is in the payment service only. So somehow at the end of the day, we as a team have figured out that this payment service is creating us all kind of problem, due to which our offer team getting impacted, help and support getting impacted, pizza main app is getting impacted. Now we went to the SD1 and told that, okay, you have suggested us to use this kind of architecture or this kind of solution where we are keeping all the components together. Yes, it was easy for us to manage, but now it is a headache for us because impact is over here, but still our rest of the things are also getting impacted. How we will make sure that this should not happen in future further, right? This person told that you can take help of a senior guy called as SD2. Now what SD2, when we asked SD2 that, okay, this is a problem, what should we do? SD2 told that move this service externally, keep it as a separate component, don't keep all four component into one place, rather keep all four separate. Now what is the solution? Now this is the solution he has given, that keep all four components separate. Now how it will work, let me show you. So now this is the solution SD2 has given us. He told that instead of keeping all the components at one place, you keep all the components separate and like this, and make all of them communicate with each other, right? So this one will communicate with everything, will communicate with each other. Okay, for example, I will have to draw multiple arrays. So this will communicate with this and this will communicate with this one, right? So all components are communicating with each other, right? So this one is communicating with this one, this one is communicating with this one, this one is communicating with this one. But then we have a doubt over here. We figure out that, okay, by keeping everything separate, how it is going to help us, right? How it is going to solve our previous problem that we have faced. Then he told like, now what you can do, if you have a problem in pizza main app and if you are doing any changes over here, it is not going to impact these three components because they are separate. They are not now together inside one component. We have divided it. So now he told that your entire project is divided into four small pieces. One piece is payment, one piece is help, one piece is pizza main app, one piece is offer. Right? He has divided all the entire project into four small chunk, and then he asks that okay, whenever you need payment things, you can just make an API call from pizza main app to payment service, and I will provide you an API which will help you to do that. Whenever you provide an offer, we will make an API which will upload that offer price in the pizza main app. Right? Whenever you need any help and support for the payment, I will make a call from help and support to payment service, and automatically the amount will get returned to the person who has make the order. So now his solution is like making dividing the project into smaller chunks, and then whenever the issue came, we will focus on that particular component where the issue occurs, and then we will make API calls to communicate all of them with each other. Now when we started implementing this, we have seen that our issue resolution time is very fast. Our regression issues has been reduced, largely reduced, because each component, one component is impacted, then only that component will have issue. We will fix that, and then automatically our API calls will start working. Third thing that happens miraculously very nice, that whenever I am working on offers, I am doing any changes on the offers, I don't have to worry about all the three components because they are completely disconnected. Right? They are not connected with me with offer section directly. They are connected only through the APIs. So if I am making any changes in the offers, I don't have to worry about other components because all those components are separately deployed. In technical terms, we call it as separately developed and deployed. So now all the four components can be designed separately, deployed separately. Now deployed means deployment is a separate technology. When we move forward, I will explain. Deployment in layman terms is nothing but once you write the code, you need to push the code somewhere and then you have to deploy that in some environment, maybe QA environment, dev environment, production environment, right? You need to deploy that code, right? So that deployment and development is now specific to a single component. Now if I have any issue over here, I do the change and deploy it. I don't have to worry that it will impact all the three sections. When I have issue with over here, I will make the changes and deploy it. I don't have to worry about these three things. So this has fastened the release and issue process, and it has reduced the regression issues also drastically. So people thought that okay, let's move out of the concepts that where we are keeping all the components at one place and we need to deploy all the four things together. No matter I have made changes only to this section of code, but still I need to deploy all the four things together because all the four things were initially inside one square box. So we have to deploy all the four things together. But now what we have done, we have make it separate. We can deploy each of the components separately. We don't have to worry about it. So now tomorrow, if tomorrow our businesses grow largely, right, and we want to create offer which is specific to US or specific to Canada, then I have to just implement or add some features over here, because payment service help support, I'm not going to, help support is going to remain same for US or Canada, right? Payment service is going to mostly remain same, app is going to remain same, only offer will change, right? Little bit change in payment service also happen due to the currency, but pizza main app and help and support is going to completely remain same. So where my change will occur, my change will occur in offers and payment service, and then I will deploy that particular two service or component separately. So now people thought that okay, the previous one is not going to work when we are going global. When we are going global or we have large amount of business, right? Because the issues number increases, we have to put more offers to for competition, right? That's why in the current world they started avoiding the previous approach and they started taking this approach where they break a large component into small pieces and make it separately developed and deployed. Remember this term, developed and deployed. Okay, this will be the term you need to take away. Okay, developed and deployed, each component, larger project divided into small chunk. Each chunk can be developed and deployed separately. Every those chunk is called as services. They talk to each other using API. Those four are the takeaway points. Now the first approach is called as monolith architecture, and the second approach is called as microservice architecture. Right? In monolith architecture, everything is same, just everything is in one box. So developed and deployed together. When there is a issue, if we change over here, again we are deploying everything together. So there are chances that that change will bring regression defect over here. Now when we separate it all together, we can avoid those things. So what are the main takeaways over here? That microservice architecture is best when you are working on a larger project, and you know that there is a chance of scalability in future, right? And your project is going to be very huge in future. In that case, you should always go with microservice, because you can divide your project into smaller chunk, and each of the services can be separately deployed and developed and deployed. Now let me give you one more real time example along with this. Okay, that example is, for example, you are using Amazon app, right? You have cart page, you have checkout page. Cart page means where you are adding all the items. Checkout page means where you are check out your items. If I have a problem with checkout page, I don't want to disturb the cart page, right? I don't want to disturb the cart page. At least cart page is working. I want to implement some new thing in the checkout page. I want to show a Amazon Prime ad in the checkout page. I don't want to disturb the cart page. Then what Amazon does? Amazon separates the cart page as one service, checkout page as one service. So they are putting one big banner of Amazon Prime new series released in checkout page. Then they are not worried about the cart page at all, because that's a separate service or the separate component, separately developed and deployed. So any change in the checkout page is not going to impact that. So that's why Amazon, big company like Amazon, Google, Netflix manages. Netflix is completely in monolith microservice architecture. That's why Netflix is so fast, and so Netflix is so fast in bringing new features into their components only because of microservice architecture. Because they are pretty sure that, okay, I need to focus on this particular component, right? I don't have to worry about rest of the component. So that's why they are able to manage it properly, because they have designed their entire architecture into small chunks, and they are develop focusing on one chunk at a time, right? So in the definition wise, I have mentioned everything over here. Okay, means how it works. This section, don't worry, we will explain it in the later phase. It will make more sense to you in the later phase. But monolith architecture, imagine you have a big box of toys, all your toys are inside this box, as I told, right? Four components inside this box. It's the only box you have. That big box is like a monolith architecture. In computer terms, monolith architecture, when all the parts of a computer program are put together in one big chunk or one big box. It's simple and everything is in one place, but it can get very hard to manage and change as you get more and more toys in the box, right? So more integration or more issues, it will all, or more scalability when you go global or add new features offers, it will be more tedious. Microservice means just bringing the dividing the entire project into small boxes.